Hi, this is Eric from Longbox Review at longboxreview.wordpress.com. Here today to do some reviews of comics from the first 2 weeks of September. I've only got 3 of them to talk about, which is curious because as I was reading the stack of comics from those 2 weeks, I remember thinking to myself, wow, I can't wait to go and talk about some of these comics. And then when I went back to actually reread and just kind of think in general about these comics, about what to say about them, I discovered that really, other than a few select comics that I plan to review at another time in other ways, there were only 3, and I thought it was very strange. But anyway, I've got 3 comics to talk about today. First up is Dark Horse's Brain Boy #1 by Fred Van Lente. Let's see here. Pencils by R.B. Silva, inks by Rob Lean, colors by Ego. I thought only rock stars went by single names until I read the credits to comics. Anyway, letters by Nate Picos of Blambot, with a wonderful cover by Ariel Olivetti. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I really like that cover. And this is the cover that drew me in initially in previews when I was looking through previews and I saw this cover. I saw the title Brain Boy, and I've talked about this before, but it just drew me in, and I like the premise. So Brain Boy, otherwise known as Matt Price, he according to the text here on the inside cover, is the world's most powerful telepath and telekinetic, apparently. Anyway, he works for the United States Secret Service, and he helps protect foreign dignitaries who come to American soil to do what foreign dignitaries do on American soil. Anyway, he gets involved in this plot with a CIA guy who claims that he has information about Brain Boy's parents, and just in exchange for a little digging around in this foreign dignitary's mind, whose name is escaping me at the moment. President something or another. Ricorda. Emil Ricorda. General Emil Ricorda. That's him right there. Anyway, things go bad for Brain Boy, of course. Ricorda disappears. He gets kidnapped. Brain Boy does as well. But in the end, the issue ends with something you didn't quite see coming, and I won't spoil that for you here. But makes for an interesting comic, an interesting premise. I enjoyed it quite a bit. The only thing I didn't really care for all that much is the art style, which is, the art is not bad. You can see that's Ricorda, the way that he sees himself as a benevolent all-father figure. Let's see, where's a good... You get some shots like this. Notice the dark faces, but that is done for effect, because you're kind of seeing how Brain Boy uses his powers, or we're seeing the effect of those powers from his perspective anyway. But I don't know. There's some. Yeah, here we go. Here's a good shot. Look at the eyes. That's with the really heavy inking there. So I kind of fault the inker for that. But anyway, it's not bad. It's not bad artwork at all. It just the style of the art. Man, sometimes things are kind of wonky. The way that see Brain Boy in the middle there in the red car. I don't know. It's just a weird. Everything looks kind of compressed, and there are just some distant shots, I guess, that just don't make all that much sense to me, or it doesn't look that great. Like I said, what was it? Her name, Ariel Olivetti cover work. If that was the interior, this would be perfect comic for me. Anyway, but I'm enjoying it. This is the first of a 3-part initial story arc, so we'll see where it goes and what happens there, but I'm enjoying it so far. Next up, a Marvel comic, the Mighty Avengers #1. Again, so I talked about this in one of my new comics ordered videos. It's Luke Cage being Mr. Cool, and so I got to try it out because it was such a joy to read him in New Avengers in both those volumes. So here we are. As you can see, you got Luke Cage here. You got the Superior Spider-Man, and over on that side, you got White Tiger, which is a character I really like. For some reason, I haven't read a whole lot with her, but for some reason, and I think the only part that the longest bit I've read of her was in Bendis' Daredevil run. Anyway, you've got over here, you've got Monica Rambeau, former Captain Marvel, now called Spectrum, in a pretty snazzy looking costume. I think that's really cool. And there's a bit in here about costumes. I'll get to that in a second. And then over here, the New Power Man, which is a character I'd kind of heard of previously. I know he was involved in... there was a miniseries called Power Man and Iron Fist, and he was in it. And also... let me find it here. I should have... There we go, right there. This other guy, the Splendiferous Spider Hero, no hyphen, does whatever a mysterious stranger can. The comedic beats in this are pretty good. Anyway, but I'm getting ahead of myself because this is by Al Ewing, whose work I'm not familiar with, but I'm liking it so far. Greg Land is the penciler. Jay Lyston's the inker. Frank DeMarta, colorist, and Corey Petit letterer. I don't know. With Greg Land and Lee Durid cover. So, okay, so Luke Cage has decided to reopen Heroes for Hire, and he's got Power Man, and he's got the White Tiger working with him, and they go to stop the Plunderer. I don't even. Is that a made up character for this issue? I don't know. I should have looked this up. Anyway, this guy dressed up in a costume. He's a little bit over the top. Anyway, he's stealing parts that happen to belong to Spider-Man. They're spider parts or something. So. They stop him, but in doing so, the smug Spider-Man, the superior smug man, kind of dresses Luke Cage down, or tries to anyway. It doesn't work on Luke Cage, but it rattles White Tiger, and she quits, which is I hope to God that's not the case. I would love to read more about her in this title. Anyway, Luke Cage goes off with Power Man. Power Man has a huge ass chip on his shoulder. The guy just won't shut up, and does not listen. So that'll be some interesting dynamics there. And then we cut to Spectrum taking care of the Blue Streak and showing what she can do. And then she ends up at this costume shop. I'm not sure. I don't know if you. It looks to be like a high scale clothing store for the superpowered set. Anyway, there's this guy that looks kind of like what's his name? I'll just show you. I'm bad with the names. He looks like the guy that played Harry Osborn in the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire. That guy. Anyway, with a really bad French accent, what is it? You used to like the trench coats, and that reminds me, there was a man came by earlier. He said you would know him. That's. Please excuse my really bad imitation there, of a bad accent in a comic. Anyway, there's this guy who's all in shadow, who knows Spectrum, and they have some words. And so then, about that time, we go back to Luke and Power Man. Basically, Power Man's like, or Luke apparently Spider-Man's words did kind of sting Luke Cage, and then he's thinking, we should be doing more than just being heroes for hire. He's starting to think larger, and a little bit more heroically, I guess. That's not the word I was thinking of, but I'll go with that one. Anyway, Power Man's like, well, you suck. I'm going to go make my own Avengers. And then, let's see here. Luke says, Danny, referring to Iron Fist, of course. I got love for you, man, but that kid is officially your problem now. Anyway, so this comic starts with it's basically a tie-in to sort of, or an introduction out of the Infinity series, because Proxima Midnight, which is a character from Infinity and that whole storyline in the Avengers, comes down to Earth for Thanos, and they're just going to basically tear up New York. And so with the Avengers off planet, and that's the reason Proxima Midnight attacked Earth, these people, Luke Cage and company, decide they're going to take care of it because you wanted the Avengers. Well, here we are. But before that, so Proxima attacks, and then Spectrum's back at the costume place with this character, this dude, who's all in shadow, and he says something about he can't be seen in country right now. If they find out I'm here, and she says, "Oh, you need a secret identity? You're in a costume shop, genius," and then tosses him that really garish Spider Hero costume again. There you go. I love that. Can't wait to find out who this guy is. He's got some nunchucks. Is this? I don't know what's going on with Marvel continuity. My first thought was, is this Danny? Is this Iron Fist? That doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Who is this guy? I'm sure somebody out there knows. I am just enjoying the ride to find out who this guy is and what's going to happen here. Anyway, like I said, there's some good humor in here, and I love Luke Cage, and I can't wait to see some of these other characters that come into it. And there's a character called the Blue Marvel, I think is his name. He's going to be coming into the story. I don't know if he's joining the team or what, but anyway, I don't know anything about this character either. So that's the nice thing about this whole Marvel Now stuff. It's gotten me back into Marvel Comics, and so I'm experiencing all the stuff that I've missed over the years, in some ways. So it's really exciting. I can't believe I'm saying this about Marvel Comics, but I am. Anyway, the Blue Marvel will come in Mighty Avengers number 3. The only other criticism I may have about this book is that if you are coming into this, fresh-faced and new to comics, this seems really confusing because it's coming. Basically, it's chapter 2 of an ongoing story that's in other comics. With the whole Infinity tie-in. Plus, there's a lot of backstory involved with Luke Cage and other characters that unless you've read the comics, you don't know. Now, how much of a hindrance is that? I'm not sure. But I have to. I do think that it is somewhat hindering with the tie-in aspect of it, because you don't know why this is happening or what's going on really. I mean, it's pretty obvious. She comes down and attacks New York. How many comics, superhero comics, have that, right? Even the uninitiated know that superheroes fight supervillains. So anyway, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing what else or where else we're going to go with this with Ewing, Land and Company. So there's that, and finally a DC comic, The Legends of the Dark Knight number 12. There are 2 stories in here. I'll talk about the second one first. This is a Batman who, at the very beginning of the story, talks about his wonderful toys, all his gadgets, and how much they cost, down to the point where the missiles he uses, or some, I can't remember exactly what it was. This is riveting, isn't it? Anyway, he talks about how much it costs. which is weird. You don't get that in Batman comics usually. But the backstory here is that Wayne Industries, and therefore Batman, was affected by the subprime collapse, and basically Wayne Enterprises is hemorrhaging money, and Batman is essentially broke, and so he's used up pretty much all of his stuff. The Batmobile needs work. Let's see. So as Alfred says here, it costs a fortune to maintain all this kit, which that's a weird word that stuck out. As someone who used to write fiction, that word does not ring true for Alfred. But anyway, in my mind, a fortune we no longer have. Most of the kit, and then we get a word echo, which is should be grounded until Wayne Tech's financial situation improves. Even your bat suit needs a total overhaul. And Bruce says, "Why didn't you tell me we were in such bad shape?" Alfred, "I tried to. You wouldn't listen." Anyway, so and then basically some things happen. Bruce is like, "Give me a bottle of liquor," and Alfred refuses to do so. Bruce goes and gets one anyway. So things. If Bruce Wayne, if Batman is drinking to escape his problems, you know things are bad. Anyway, he goes outside to drink by himself, but then he sees a bat, and then he's reminded again why he became Batman in the first place. Blah 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 blah. And then he goes to start again, and then you get basically a one-page training montage of him going old school, just like he started out. Then he gets into a fight. His suit is the old cloth, basically cloth and leather type thing. He gets hit in the back of the head with a bat and gets knocked out. Just like in the old days. Anyway, the story's going to continue. I'm curious what will happen, other than Batman will win, come out on top in the end. I just thought it was really interesting how they tied it into, real-world financial issues. I've often thought about that, too, how those things affect Batman, who relies a lot on the Wayne fortune and what he does with that and how he generates that money, which that's stuff we don't really get into. And I'm not saying we should have that all the time, because that's not what Batman comics should be about. But it was interesting anyway. For this, I'm assuming this will be just 2 parts to the tale. Okay, now for the first one. Oh, and that one was shoot. This is called Return of Batman Part 1. This is by Peter Milligan, written by Peter Milligan. Wow. So, Mr. Milligan. Interesting why he would use, anyway, the language. Anyway, art by Riccardo Bercelli. Colors by Wendy Broom. Letters by, this font they're using, I can't read it very well. Seda Temofonte. Cover by David Williams. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, here's the one I really want to talk about. Adaptation, written and illustrated by Raphael Albuquerque, colors by Dave McCaig, letters by Seda Temofonte. Yeah, it's Seda. Because this font I can read better. And no, it's not these old eyes. It's this. Okay, so this opens up with Batman. It's storming out. Batman is at looks like a carnival. Looks like it's after hours. Anyway, he gets shot at by the Joker, and some of Joker's really freaky looking henchmen. Then Batman, and he's hurt. He's bleeding. He runs into the Hall of Mirrors, and that's when he comes up against Two-Face, Scarecrow, Penguin, Killer Croc, Ra's al Ghul, the Mad Hatter. I think that's Zax, or what's his name? The guy that cuts himself. Blanking on it. Bane is here. And Catwoman. Curiously, Catwoman, which that's odd why she would be so prominently displayed with the villains that are trying to kill Batman. Anyway, but this is out of continuity stories, whatever. He gets captured. He's like, no, that's impossible. Two-Face flips a coin. Things go badly. Two-Face shoots Batman. But wait. Oh. It's a dream. But see, here's Old Man Wayne. Old Man Wayne. And here, let me see if I can zoom in on that little bit right there. Can you see that? Oh, it's kind of bad. There's a bat there. In that little dialogue box, a little caption there. So this is Bruce Wayne, our Batman, talking to us through the story. Anyway, he says here, you've always said, and this is Bruce talking to, I assume, Alfred's gravestone. You've always said I shouldn't let myself be dominated by him, but I couldn't help it, Alfred. He was stronger than me. So strong he cleaned up the city, defeated all those freaks. Okay, so here's where I think he's talking about himself as Batman. Okay? So then he goes into the city, he's feeding the birds, that's what old men do. I guess that's what I have to look forward to soon. Anyway, I'm still here, old friend, a creature of the shadows stuck in this cage. Okay, so who's talking now? Is that Bruce or is that Batman? But he, emphasis there, but he is useless now. He's screaming inside my head, completely mad. What? So anyway, this guy comes up behind this woman. Bruce thinks he goes all Frank Miller Batman on him, and watch your purse, lady. It's the guy, but this guy's her boyfriend, and she says, nobody's mugged anyone here for 20 years, you creep. And Bruce is like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And okay, so then we get to the last few pages here. He's back at home, and he's shaving. So you saw the shaggy beard and stuff. So he's shaving again. A little bit Dark Knight-esque scenes going on here. I'm trying, but I can't stand much more of this, my friend. He can hear the city calling. Gotham needs him. Gotham needs me. Okay, so I still think he's talking about Batman, right? His Batman persona has he's gone schizophrenic a little bit here. That's what I'm thinking, right? Okay, so then you get this little scene here with the razor. He flips it up, and then look at that. Look at that. Ooh. He's killed himself, right? No, he's not killed himself. But he's cut himself. There's blood everywhere, and he starts laughing. He wants to come back, but I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you. And that's how it ends with that panel. What the... Okay. This is interesting for a couple reasons. So, Bruce Wayne goes crazy, and the Joker has infected him in some way. Just the psychological aspects of it. I'm not talking like he's poisoned by the Joker, or, all the Joker toxin he's ingested over the years or whatever. I'm not talking about that. It's just a psychological battle of wills, and the Joker won. The Joker won. Okay, so there's that aspect that I find interesting. The other aspect I find really interesting with that is that DC would allow that story to be published. That story showing the Batman losing to his greatest nemesis after a fashion. That just blows my mind. Anyway. Out of everything I read, out of all these comics that I read the first 2 weeks of September, that was the story that my mind kept going back to and thinking about, man, I got to talk about this. Man, that's interesting. So, hats off to Mr. Albuquerque for giving me such an interesting tale to read and ponder, and now to talk to you about it. So, good job there. Well, that's it. Like I said, I had 3 comics. I talked about 3 comics. So there you go. That's my discussion about the comics that I read during the first 2 weeks of September. I've got the comics from the last 2 weeks of September sitting on my desk, waiting to be read. So I should get busy and do that. Here it is, middle of October. Yeah, I'm behind. Anyway, if you have any comments, please let me know at longboxreview@gmail.com or leave comments below the video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.